frame for them.
You'll never
To
Having a
ground
Yes.
well, I got one in the truck. If you're looking to dramatically increase pencils, where the hell you been? You don't hands up.
I was out in Colorado. I drove
You don't necessarily need to make an hour
hours
to the
from
draft
Denver to Hutchinson, Kansas,
tour, and from
which is basically
unless there's some substantial.
it's National Highway 50, which follows the Santa Fe Trail to the Arkansas River. And it was brilliant sunshine in a face and had a white car, so I think
Just in the reflection, the glare of it.
You were our neighbors?
No.
Oh, I thought you were our neighbors.
Yeah. Shoes and
I'm Mark. Same man. Oh, you're in Cooksville. Oh, okay. We've driven through there. It's very nice.
Yes, the tone is all.
We're across from Len from Brothers Direct. You know Len, he's got
Pencils down at the parole. You're the. Honey, these are.
Who did?
We're the 207. That's the Humboldt.
Son-in-law Derek.
No.
Schedule the public hearing. You're doing legal
Right,
notices.
yeah. Oh my God. Blake's
know
my
what?
best friend. No, listen. I have a son-in-law, but he's Andrews. Blake Andrews' mother was my best friend.
What?
I know your daughter, Ashley.
Yeah. You know Ashley.
She owns a.
She told me about
I own an antique shop. About you, too.
you were somewhere around me. Yeah, I remember that conversation.
Holdy's birthday was yesterday.
Was it? Yeah. So your grandson, Blake and Ashley's son, and one of my grandsons were on the same baseball team this year. I ever went, and my daughter, she said she folks were watching the game, and I saw this young man get up with Andrews on his back shirt, and all of a sudden it came over me, could this be Blake? Son.
Oh, yeah.
And I turned around and I saw Blake. I almost tried to cry. And
I recognize the name now. You weren't a relative, though.
I wasn't a relative, but his mom and I were like this. His mother had passed
I
away.
was thinking about her as, being a grandma, because she would have been a great grandma,
She would have been. I thought of that when I saw them at the game and the two kids, and I thought, oh, Sandy's massive. She would have been just magical, as I'm sure you are too. But she said that but we've always admired that house. And we went through it when it was first.
Really?
No, when it was first finished.
Oh, okay. Wherever you want.
We were.
I just take up a lot of space.
So they let us come through just to get it.
It's funny, all our neighbors that are building around us,
They all did.
Did they really?
So
We had George Wood, and we were. We came on and to an architect, had plans drawn up.
Oh, yeah.
And this one came up for sale,
and we couldn't have done better.
and we couldn't have done better, so
That's a
we put in a visit and we got it, so we got lucky.
beautiful house.
Oh, it
Love the
is.
way it says.
I was overwhelmed.
not maintaining.
He lost his wife, I think, and he gave up.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Coming right in. And someone did tell me that
Things are
And I was like,
It's called the Sweat Doctor.
And then we meet the coach.
The U.S. family there. So he was like,
Oh, I got two squares.
See that? Make you guys popular.
What are you talking
The family or something that drew those plans.
It's so funny because we're trying to put another garage on, but
Dawn is
it was her
today.
brother or sister.
So I think you got another thing. I just suddenly just
But
lost
you
something.
couldn't work
Jen
in
is now public.
Connecticut. She was a bastard. You didn't have
yeah,
to.
they did have a wife.
So the person we contacted who signed our garage was the person next door to us. So we thought she was the architect. She wasn't his sister.
So we found her in North Carolina. She drew the plans on the website. Just on the garage. Yeah, it was like, they just found the place. We called earlier.
Listen, I was, but
It was just, somebody just
I
broke
just
up.
one session.
So now we can get hired contractors. Those old brush.
democracy.
We got some, I know. And he bailed on me.
And I was like, I can't cheat.
Can you give us his number? That would be great.
Just all been posted.
Okay.
Yeah, I can take that.
That would be great.
I have a text, yeah. So it's area code 802. I don't know.
On your some computer somewhere. Funny jokes that I've heard. Maybe between two people that don't see eye to eye. They'll have no power.
Trucks.
And some service.
Now, what do you need 24 trucks?
He said, "All right, we're going to make a deal right now." I would say that it's hard
They're
to
not
get
over these regulations.
a big trade so I can vote.
Oh, you don't need a variance.
Say the tax cut is on
Okay.
something.
At the start of the meeting, we're still short one commissioner for a quorum, so we're waiting for them to show up. Reached out to them by phone, and hopefully they'll be here
Go back to
soon.
my office and tell the guys.
We haven't successfully reached out to them by phone, but
Freight
that may mean they're driving and coming here. That's our hope.
There's big discussion. And we figure out, okay, they got a carpenter, they got a plumber, they got an electrician.
Good luck.
Few stuff things to code. They don't have a mason. That's the only thing we came up with, right? Members. Fast forward to me right here.
Pasquale.
Then we, somebody guy comes out from the town. Says, oh, no,
The members of the planning
no,
committee,
no, only told me it didn't work out.
none of those two guys.
No.
So
Been there 25 years. Go away.
I called Richard Baldelli. John, well, you told me, he says, oh, I don't remember the conversation. I said, well, that doesn't bother me one bit. I said, not only do I remember it, there's 5 guys in our office that all remember it. And they'll swear in a court of law that you told me I didn't. He said, well, that was the law at the time. I said, okay, so what you're going to do is I'm going to send you an email, and you're going to confirm back to me. And I built this, I didn't need a variance on it. Well, I'm not used to run summer's oil.
She was 48.
She would, luckily,
High school pissed off, but caps on the
Law says you don't have to.
I was just going to say, plus there's that one statute 813A, which protects everything after 3 years.
Oh, really?
After 3 years.
He was thinking of trying to bust my chops, right? Like,
Good luck to him.
yeah. Well, I didn't know anything about that.
Asking his Sandy's sister, brother, one of her parents, also was born after her death. They ended up,
That's why towns get sued all the time.
that was caught.
Well, the other thing that I did, this was a pretty thing I did, was
My maternal and maternal.
my deck needed to be redone. So it was good. And we changed the floor plan deck.
Yeah.
I heard it too.
Close to the septic tank.
Okay.
Well, must be a septic tank. So that's what I'm thinking of doing.
That's the grounds for
You know, Derek, bought a house up in Vermont.
I didn't. No. I know, well, I did.
you guys don't sue.
Oh, in New Hampshire.
Yeah, oh, we're in New
New
Hampshire.
Hampshire. Yeah, I did. Blake told me that.
Yeah,
I do
okay.
know
That was New Hampshire, right.
Yeah.
So Dawn,
But he's down here a lot, right? Is he still
Because
working
he
here?
still works.
He's a great
One guy who
I love Derek.
Yeah,
That's great.
I don't know how many bottles of use much or wine. It's harder to do now with all the aerial photos, but.
Right.
Jen didn't tell.
Oh, no, I'm sure they could probably go on Google and find.
Robert was in the first grade.
Because they're both from
It's a stupid.
Oh,
Step
good.
6.
towns that care much about.
Sophia.
That's the assessor.
That's my
That's
mom. Jen, because there was
Right, really. But I left school.
I used to put
They need one.
Al
On this store.
back there.
Distillery.
Well,
So every
they're not
time
on the phone, probably not.
fresh bottle, like,
Everything doing this, but once I was
Emma,
drinking more, but those very.
Nothing's from here.
the Connecticut Junior Society tour. And so winter, she crossovers for her. So we had this basket game. So the kids were skating.
No, we're.
So like,
Wilbraham.
I can't do business without
He had
a
played.
can't say I wasn't just pitch.
You have to have.
I mean, decades.
And so we'll come by tomorrow and get it?
And
Okay. Right now, it's not possible for us to come by, so I'll see you sometime in the morning. How's that? Okay, and what are the? Yeah, no, yes, that's fine with me. Uh-huh.
top of the list, buddy. Top of the list.
We're gonna make a destination.
Nope, that's fine. We'll stop at the bank first and take out a couple million.
Well, I said, well, okay. I already have one across the way.
Yeah.
But I think he's building.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's in those condos now.
He built those too.
Person who was
I think I heard he was building a house on Turnpike Road or off.
And it's one of my questions was,
Just lost you.
He doesn't really build a house.
person, that's how.
Well, we'll see you in the morning. What time will you be there? Good.
5 to 6:30. That's for years.
really responsive.
The guy that I'll give you is, I don't know how he's available either. He is building a house in Hampton now.
Good to know.
Maybe something like that.
Boy, she was.
But he put on a small porch with all the side doors.
Six. Might be. They vary 15 times.
Next.
Yeah.
Because they have to get the pool at least in the backyard first. And it's a fiberglass pool.
Oh, okay.
So they have to get that in first.
Oh, and then you open the garage.
Yeah, because if they put the garage in first, they never get the pool.
Are we set to record? Everything we need to do is done.
That would just be
Pool for your grandkids.
We're ready to go? Okay. Thank you for your patience. I'd like to call the October 23rd meeting of the Summers Planning Commission to order. First order of old business is a zoning referral, application number 25-006. Brian Giuliano Family One LLC, 47 Old Hampton Road, Summers, seeking a special use permit for earthworks per section 214-8.4 earthwork regulations to perform excavation and grading, moving and removal of gravel and boulders in the A1 residential zone. Okay. Presentation from the applicant?
I brought my application, Nita.
Sure.
Usually we have a team over there, so I can show you. Just leave it back.
Yeah.
Do you need the application?
I don't have it in front of me. Thank you.
The grapevine, right here.
All right, Brian Giuliano, 107 Hamden Road, Summers. Basically, this is just a special use permit for an area up on Old Hampden Road where we're looking to take out the rest of the boulders that remained from the old gravel pit from the 1960s through 1980s. And there's a little bit of meat they left on the bone in certain corners of the old pit. We went in there and just saw there was a little bit left. We started making a dirt bike track around the perimeter for the kids and my kids too, my own self. And I said, there are little boulders in here. They didn't do any crushing up there back when they had that pit open. So they pushed all the boulders kind of down at the low side of the low side of the area. I guess we'll call it the southwesterly side, if you will. So we like the boulders. We're looking to take them out. So we went through the motions here and went through the special use permit. And that's what we're here for tonight. I think we asked for a year's time to finish off what we're looking to do. At the last meeting, we set up some parameters for time and stuff like that, the amount of trucks that would be going in and out. I think we said no Saturdays and, set a reasonable time in the morning, what I believe was 7:30 in the morning. to possibly 4:30 in the afternoon. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like how much you plan on taking out? How much are we dropping the grade there?
I'm not looking to drop any grades real significantly. There was just like, it was a pit, so there was like
Okay.
some berms and stuff. But they didn't go the way the property, I don't know how the property was drawn up back then, but it was different parcels. It used to belong to Mr. Larrabee. We used to dirt bike in there when we were kids, and he used to let us go in, and he had it set into different pieces. And this one piece, I believe, might be 15, 20 acre piece. It just had some berms, but they didn't go back to the property line.
Right.
So where they had those cuts and those slopes, we're just looking to take them back to the property line. There's where that pit was in 1993. It was bare. It was almost bare right down to Old Hampton Road, and it grew in and grew in. We dirt biked there, kept our tracks, but as time went on, it just kept growing. All the growth was smaller than my arm, and you can see on the outskirts of this pit, like, it's all mature trees. So we're just staying off the drip edge of the mature trees and leaving them alone, and just bringing it back to, just like I say, to the property lines. So some of those lines are going back, some of those banks are going back 15, 20 feet, in the banks. So, but other than that, they had a lot of just big piles, which made for really cool jumps and stuff on the dirt bikes, but we're kind of reconfiguring that. But buried within the piles was all like 36-inch and 40-inch boulders, which are nice for building walls and stuff like that.
So you're basically harvesting the boulders, you're resurfacing. Now you talked about bringing it out to the property line. What kind of slope are we looking at in an end result?
End result, like 3-to-1 or less.
Okay.
Nothing steep.
Right.
It was steeper than that when I got in there. It wasn't that stable, But now we're just making noise.
Yeah, that's always the concern about working gravel banks. There's two things we worry about with them. One is slope, and
Yep.
the other is overhang.
Yes,
Right.
that's how it was when I found it, but that's going away.
It probably didn't have it when they started, but erosion's a thing.
Right.
I mean, I only noticed when I was looking at the map one section where it looks like there's a steep, like 20-foot area. I'd like make sure you're paying attention if you get washout when you're working that area about the overhangs.
Yeah, there is a steep area when they had
Okay.
drawn this up. So
Staff comments?
So I provided you guys.
Yes, you provided us with written comments.
Correct.
And I can just, when he went to the the zoning commission, they did have a little presentation, and just to confirm that, they were requesting certain conditions. A special use permit is only good for 1 year anyways for this type of operation.
Yes, that's why we had 3 or 4 gravel banks going that came in annually.
Right.
The engineer would go out and look at the slopes and
post a bond,
Right.
and make sure
Right.
it's the 3-to-1 slope.
Do you have erosion control and tracking pads and stuff like that? Or?
there's no tracking pads there, but it's like so far, it's like, I don't know, over a quarter mile off the road, just a big winding thing. And then you go up and it's in a bowl. So you go up to the top of the mountain, and then this activity is just like down in a bowl. There's nowhere for anything to go.
Isn't Old Hampton Road a dirt road anyway?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so right.
It is. And the wetlands agent from the town's been up there and they've looked at everything, and, they haven't pointed out any concerns to myself.
There was some mention of being 100 feet away from a wetland easement area. Is that easement area on those properties?
That part I don't.
I think it's across the street.
It's across the street.
It's Thrasher Brook, which starts.
No, it's just if it was on the properties, I'd have wanted it on a map. If it's not on the properties, then there's no.
Joanna Shapiro did look at the site plan and visit the property.
Okay. All right. Questions from the commissioners? Okay. Would either of the commissioners be interested in making a motion to either refer this back to zoning with approval or rejection, or with conditions? Or there are questions that are left unanswered for people?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
Put me on the spot. Right?
Sorry.
Well, they will have to post a bond, and the hours were Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4.
And you work with the town to set the bond amount?
Yes.
And that would be a zoning issue, not an us issue for the amount of the bond.
Right. I think that his attorney is suggesting a bond of $124,000. So that would be for the, these conditions for the zoning commission.
Fair enough.
Motion for a positive referral to zoning.
Have a motion, have a second? Okay, have a motion, have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wear the helmet on the dirt bikes.
What's that?
Wear the helmet on the dirt bikes.
Certainly, we do.
Other hat.
I'll leave that back, Brad. Thank you.
Just gonna give it back.
Go to the actual project first. We're happy to wait.
Oh, I guess that's up to,
Here.
you want to submit a PRC again?
Oh, wait, I wouldn't kick you out.
Okay. Taishi Policy and Planning Group, draft of Plan of Conservation and Development 2025.
Michael, there. Sure.
Come up. We have a big room and a poor setup for visual aids.
I don't think
I
so.
said we have a big room and a poor setup for visual aids.
Well, I mean,
Well, yeah, I'm not sure.
I have a couple extra copies if anyone wants to look at it.
So what you were provided, I guess, you're recording this, but Mike D'Amato and Jeremy DeCarli with Taiki. What you have in front of you is a draft layout. It's sort of a word-only version, and it is what we believe to be reflective of kind of what we've talked about so far. We have made updates to the mapping based on the data that was provided by your vendor, updated demographic and other data based upon whatever is available or has been updated since, and then based upon the feedback that you gave us in the form of the table, implementation table, included that at the end. I think a couple of points that are just worth making, included in the memo. We've set, as we discussed, the horizon for this to be very short, so to give you enough time to adopt a true plan and go through the more traditional planning process, but also we wanted it to coincide with the expiration of your current affordable housing plan so that you can lump them all together. When we first started this process, we talked about incorporating them based upon what was happening in Hartford regarding housing. We're now in a position where that housing bill was vetoed. We think something's coming back, but we don't know. And you don't want to be in a position where you adopt something in January and then the special session now says you have to go and amend another time. So we think it makes sense to keep them separate so that you have that flexibility. And then when this expires, your current affordable housing plan will expire. We will know what the new legislation is at that point, and you can incorporate it at that time. So the content and approach to the chapters and how it's laid out and the recommendations have not changed, because obviously we didn't go through and do all that community outreach and really the fact finding. So we are not moving the needle in that regard and trying to change course. So I know there's not a lot that's new there, but obviously the maps and tables, I don't know if you've had a chance to look, but at this point I think we were looking for feedback, and I believe you went to Board of Selectmen, was referred to CROG, so we are in that window, thank God. The next step would be 35 days before it has to be filed with the clerk.
Okay.
35 days before.
Before the scheduled hearing, yes.
All right. Since this is not necessarily tied to the housing plan in terms of expiration date, if we approve this plan as it's currently written, this would stand as a plan of conservation and development in fact and would be a valid document for 10 years. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The only sort of asterisk to that is that the way that we've structured the implementation is that it only has the 3-year window.
Right.
Yes, but the state is not going to say you only get 3 years.
I understand that, but having spent some effort over the last year and a half trying to get a committee to do this, I'd really like to see could we legally insert sunset language in the end of this that basically says that this document dies in 3 years, that it's no longer the plan of conservation and development for the town after that date. Is there any legal prohibition to that?
The statute requires that you prepare, amend, and adopt a POCD on a 10-year cycle. And so they're going to acknowledge that. I guess what we could do is touch base with OPM to see if we give them a plan that has a 3-year horizon, would they recognize the 3-year horizon when they put the town inventory together? But, I think you could certainly include the language.
Okay.
Yeah. Whether or not they'll recognize it as something we would be happy to get an answer to, if you would like.
We did insert language to that effect into the plan. It's on page 7, right at the beginning. It says, due to the statutory requirement of updating the town POC, this plan was developed over a short period and is intended to serve the town for a shorter than usual duration, only 4 years, while the newly created Planning and Zoning Commission is established and begins to set its own priorities for the years ahead. New plan was developed using significant public and stakeholder input to guide the town beginning in 2029. So we did include that language, knowing that a shorter horizon, right? I don't know statutorily that does anything.
Right. No, my only concern is without this connected to something compelling action, that it will, that there's less of an incentive to move forward.
Yeah, agreed. I think something that we can think on, so all of the big planning decisions, obviously zoning reg amendments and zone changes, you're supposed to be considering this document. So I think maybe there's a way we can get more language in there so that if down the road they choose not to and they say, no, it's good for this, when you're looking, I guess, for 5 years down the road, they're trying to find consistency. Maybe we can include heavier language to that the plan is structured as such that it would not be appropriate or would not be prudent or would be in conflict with the intent of its adoption to find that any application be found consistent with this plan after the date of expiration. I think we could.
Because frankly, I've already received a comment from one other commission saying, we're supposed to be included in this.
Yeah.
And I kind of explained the situation to them, but I want to make sure that, when I'm telling people, look, this is a short-term plan and we really do plan on including it when we make the full long-term plan, that I can back that up with something.
So something else you could consider?
When is that?
That's what I'm asked. That sometime within the next. If we approve this, it's good for 10 years. Right. So they could kick it off 10 years. I've had people saying this is a short-term document.
Right.
I want to make sure the document says it's a short-term document in very concrete terms, or as concrete terms as we can.
I don't know that it's binding, but something else you could do, again, to make it really much more difficult. I know that this combined commission obviously may be formed in the future. Many commissions establish bylaws. And within the document, those bylaws, you could include language about the commission amending the POCD based upon expiration. And so if we establish an expiration date, they would then have to make amendments based on that date. There's things that I think you could certainly. I think
we're bound by the charter definition. I don't believe, at least to the best of my knowledge, none of the commissions have separate bylaws from the charter. Am I incorrect in that?
You're correct. Their own bylaws. The ZBA has their own bylaws.
The ZBA has their own bylaws. Okay. So we could do that sort of thing.
Yeah, you could. Their operating procedures are not anything that are bound by statute that you have to do X and Y. But if you formalize that and the commission puts their arms around it, I think that is, it's all what you're trying to, I think, get to, which makes complete sense.
Right. The problem is to do this properly, it's a collection of commissions, and that we can't, as the zoning, or the planning and zoning board, or whatever we are, create a subcommittee of including people who are not part of our commission. So that bars us from creating the planning group on our own. We need the selectmen to appoint that body that includes more than just members of our commission. You're looking at me funny.
Yeah, I think about similar
I was
situations.
told this by our town attorney when we used to have the Open Space Trails Committee was part of this committee. And we had people on the Open Space Trails Committee who were not part of the Planning Commission.
Yep.
And the town attorney told the Board of Selectmen to tell us to knock it off.
So
I'm assuming there was some legal basis for that. I never explored that, I just knocked it off. They created.
Was that when open space was a subcommittee of planning?
Yes.
Hence the reason we just started a new open space probably.
Yes, that was why we did that. Yes.
I know another town that has a POCD subcommittee, and it consists of 3 members of the Planning and Zoning Commission, which constitutes a quorum, and then 3 members of other commissions, and it is for that exact purpose. It was not appointed by the commission or by the Board of Selectmen, but I believe that they have bylaws which authorize them to establish non-decision-making subcommittees or working groups, because ultimately all they're doing is pushing everything back to the commission to make the decision. So I think that you couldn't get around calling it a board that had meetings that needed agendas and minutes. I'm not an attorney, and plenty of towns go against stuff, so it may just be they're not doing it right, but maybe it's a working group.
I'd rather do it with the cooperation and support of the Board of Selectmen, frankly, because when we write the plan and everybody has their really good ideas and we put them forward, that's kind of where implementation happens. Right? So if we're doing something that involves, finding a workaround for the Board of Selectmen, we're kind of creating something as an academic exercise in my head, and I've had enough of those in my life. I'm done with school.
Sure.
If we're going to do this, we want to do it in a way that makes sure it's meaningful. So I'm looking for something that, compels people to take action, but does it in a way that, you have the stakeholders all the way up the line involved. And I think if we're creating something because they're having created one sort of puts them one step further from as involved as I'd like them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so maybe one of the priority implementation steps is for the commission to advocate for the establishment of a POCD subcommittee or implementation.
Sure, we could do that.
But I mean, that gets the ball rolling ahead of the plan's about to expire. We need to do this, and you can get that conversation started sooner versus later. Or again, maybe get a different answer to that question, and then if you do develop bylaws, that's something you can incorporate into the commission's authority. But it's worth having a conversation about it.
In my head, the simplest thing is for us to put some sort of closure on the document itself, rather than trying to create a new commission and then create bylaws and then get all the parties that be to agree that we can do this thing that we haven't ever done before as an organization that's never been there before. I mean, I see that becoming kind of the more longer and convoluted process. If we have to do that, of course, we can discuss it, but
we can make that language a little stronger.
Okay.
I think, so like I said, this isn't the final draft. This is in Word. We will lay this out more professionally for sort of prime time once we are at a place where it's ready for adoption. But the structure and format, obviously, to make edits and kind of show people what's being changed works better in Word. And I know the document is, whatever it is, almost 100 pages and is largely the same. But I think at this point we're trying to make sure it was set up per your expectations, the table looks correct, you have any edits or things that you think are missing, or again, recognizing we're not really changing anything.
Right.
But we want to make sure that we're confident in the draft for what it is, so that when we do start scheduling the hearing and filing with the town clerk and all those things, that the document is in order to do so.
I gave it a quick look. Nothing leaped out at me. I'm a terrible editor, so I wouldn't rely entirely on me for that.
Everything we talked about is in there.
Right.
That we wanted somewhat updated.
Right, and everything else is literally verbatim.
Right.
So there's no,
So our next step at this point?
so the 65-day referrals were done, so the Board of Selectmen has it and has opportunity to comment. You're not obligated, you are not unable to make a decision if they choose not to provide comment. So the next step would be probably to back into from the referral date when you want to set the hearing for, so that we know that we're, available and it works for everybody, and then advertise that, and then file a plan with the town clerk 35 days ahead. What was the date?
That sounds like pulling out calendar time.
What was the date of the referral?
To Krog.
Yeah.
It was.
It's a temporary stopgap measure, so that we still have them in place. It's
10:15.
It's not, it's the best way to do it, it's not the only way to do it. We're not
So
required to do it, it's the planning commission.
the hearing can occur on or after December 19th. What is your regular meeting? It would normally be,
It would be to schedule a public
Second
hearing.
Thursday.
so it would be the
Say
11th.
what they think about it before we do the final version.
So, we'd be really looking at like the 22nd, the 23rd, or sometime.
Then we'd have to,
Well, we could do a special meeting, right? Or go out on the calendar.
Yeah, we could do special, but it would have to be after the 19th. I guess the question that I would have is if we get
Comments back.
correct.
Yeah.
If we get something from the Board of Selectmen that says we have no comments or here are our comments, and we can get comments from CROG prior to, then there would be no reason to wait for 65. That's the whole purpose.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking maybe, certainly, the 22nd of December, the 23rd of December, I don't think anybody's going to meet on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
The 19th is a Friday.
Yeah. So, we'd be thinking 22nd, 23rd, or the 29th.
don't think you're going to get any of those
Terrible.
dates to show for a public hearing.
Yeah. Well, I think based upon the timing, because then this commission sunsets on the 31st, correct? So that's the...
Assuming it passes, yes.
Right.
Right.
So we have to wait 65 days, or you said we don't have to?
You have to provide 65 days prior to the public hearing. You have to provide the Board of Selectmen and the Regional Council of Governments copies so that they can have an opportunity to comment. So, as it stands right now, we, absent comments from both of those, you've got to wait the 65.
And if we got comments from both of them,
Right. That's
sooner?
right. I'm thinking right now the most prudent thing to do is to
Reach out to
both the Board of Selectmen and see, hey, can you give us comments, or can you just say we don't have any? And then we can reach out, or you can tell, whatever, to CROG and say, this is the situation, the commissions may be combined. Is there any way you can get us some comments ahead of time? They're usually very good.
Yeah.
So I would think it wouldn't be an issue. And if we have those comments, then I think that would be, we would then shoot for the regular December
Which would be the
meeting.
11th.
Right. And I do anticipate comments from the Board of Selectmen. Thursday night, I gave it to them. Look at it. And Tim talked to me about it for a little bit. And
Do you all want to reach out to CROG, or do you want us to touch base with CROG and see if we can put it on the fast track?
I mean, if you have more pull, I do.
I don't know if we have more pull or not. Maybe we do.
Who's doing the reviewing over there for these? Do we know?
I would probably touch base with Heidi
Yeah.
or Kyle.
Yeah.
I don't think Jacob would take that.
Right.
I think there's a reasonable chance we can get comments much sooner than 65. So
Great. And I'm sure the Board of Selectmen can respond in less than 65 days.
yes, I would think so.
Okay, but if we're going to do a public hearing, we have to give 30 days prior to that public notice, right?
Right.
Okay. So,
Calendar days or business days?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
calendar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if your meeting is on the 11th, we need to file this with the town clerk 35 days prior to, so that's November 6th. So we would need to know by November 6th.
Can we schedule a tentative public hearing for the 11th on the assumption of comments? And if that doesn't happen, then we can reschedule it at our meeting on the 13th. That way, we've voted to schedule it. Once you've got the approvals, you can.
You're saying the 11th and the 13th of what, December?
Right, what I'm saying is, we scheduled, we at this point.
What month are you in? December?
All right, yeah, let me throw the months in. If we currently tentatively schedule the public hearing for December 11th, right? And assuming we're going to get the comments back from the selectmen and CROG in a timely manner, right? That would be, they would have to have them back by the 6th. If they don't get them back by the 6th, on our meeting of the 13th of November, we can postpone that public hearing.
I got what you're saying.
That makes sense? That way we have it scheduled, we don't need a special meeting because you've got the comments.
I have a question for you. So, if we schedule a public hearing for December 11th, can't they, I mean, it's a public hearing, so can't they take the Board of Selectmen comments?
Yep.
By that time?
The November 6th date is the date that we have to file with the town clerk.
And say this is
Yes.
POCD. Right.
So yeah.
And so then they can make a motion to adopt it as written or any changes? Like if there were any significant comments from the Board of Selectmen?
I think you could, I think there is a path to maybe approving with some potential edits. I think it's just a matter of figuring out how everybody's on the same page as far as what those
Right.
are.
I mean, actually not any significant.
Yeah.
I don't anticipate there to be anything significant.
Yep.
But, so that's why I'm just wondering if we should.
Yes.
I think that, like you said, I think that the 11th would be feasible.
Yeah, we just need to know that we're still on board for the December 11th hearing, because if we don't file the plan with the clerk by the 6th of November, then you can't have it.
Right.
But that's completely independent from comments. So we just need to know that we're going to get comments for the 11th or have them by the 11th. So we don't need to do anything else. So I think we're okay. So we'll just make a note that we just want to schedule the hearing, and then if you just file the draft, you can file the draft now with the town clerk. It has to be at least 35. So you can take that in on Monday and give it to her, and then we're good.
Yeah.
And then you just have to schedule the legal notice with the newspaper. So then maybe do that, and you have to wait out time frames.
So the only way we're in trouble is if either the Board of Selectmen or CROG do not give comment nor deny the desire to give comment.
Correct.
Okay. As long as they're not silent, we're good.
Correct. If they choose to be silent, then
we're screwed.
We're going to be celebrating New Year's together here.
Yes.
While we have a public hearing on POCD. We'll reach out to CROG tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
And legal notice is 35 days also?
No, just a traditional public
Regular
hearing.
legal notice, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Any questions or comments from the commission? Further staff comments? Okay, so can I have a motion to schedule a public hearing for the revised plan of conservation and development for December 11th?
You make a motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And we will not be discussing no further discussion on that will happen at this point, but we've done it. So new business, 8-24 referral for a solar panel on our old abandoned landfill, which I think we've talked about, but I don't think we have formally approved.
Todd Rowland, Director of Land Use and Public Works, for the record. Yes, come before you this evening to request a favorable 824 referral to construct a approximately 1 megawatt solar farm on top of the old landfill behind the recycling center. We've been working on this since 2012 23. We did we're approached by companies all the time for this kind of stuff, and one of them had mentioned that they had grants for solar field. So I said, well, all right, tell me more. So we went through the process. We kind of liked what they were proposing. We brought it before the Board of Selectmen. They've approved it. We did an RFP. Verigy was the best deal for the town. And the way this will work, there's in the map there, they're going to construct a solar field on top of the old capped landfill that we don't do anything with. The town will get a direct lease payment of approximately $55,000 a year. It's a hands-off lease. In other words, what they do, we really don't care. We're going to get paid off of the amount of power they're generating. They take care of everything else. They have to construct it. They have to construct the interconnection with Eversource. They put up the fence. They maintain everything. We have nothing to do with the solar panels. It's a direct lease based on the amount of power that these are generating. And there's a sweet spot in the NRES program around 1 megawatt because a lot of developers go for much bigger. But that's highly competitive. They're typically very small, 1 megawatts. There's some money to be had there, and there's a lot of federal and state grants. As a town, we don't care, but I'm really just coming before you to ask you if you think this is going to materially change anything in the town. It's derelict land that we don't use, other than I did have a fire on it about 5 years ago. But
There were many there before then, too, yes. At the end of use, do they take it down?
Yep.
Okay.
Or they can extend it if we agree, and it's still producing power. But yeah, they're. Pardon?
How long is the lease agreement?
20 years.
20 years.
It's about $55,000 goes into the general fund. It would be an offset. Pardon?
Does inflation go up, or is it?
There's a schedule in the agreement. It's all based on the megawatts that they're getting, but there's a basic annual payment. The 20 years stays the same.
So $55,000 for 20 years.
Right, $55,000 per year, each year for 20 years.
No inflation.
If we extend, then there's another schedule for extending. We can extend another 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, what have you. It'll be up to the Board of Selectmen at that point to decide if we want to keep going or not.
Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Is this back to zoning?
No, this is, if the town is doing an expenditure, a transfer, or a lease of property, they do an H-20. Do you have to do it on a lease?
Carl, the town attorney said, get it.
Carl says we do it, we do it.
I said, okay.
That's my rule.
Motion for approval.
Have the motion to approve, second, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to approval of our September 11th minutes. Second, discussion, all in favor? Okay, the other one? Second, all in favor? Okay, motion passes. Thank you all very much.
Sean?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to reach out to community groups and what have you.